Hi all, I hope you're all having a lovely Friday. You might notice today that quality isn't quite as good as it is usually, but that's because I'm using my crummy little camera instead of my 5D and my huge exuberant lighting setup, because I simply can't be bothered. I hope you're fine with that. Now, this week's topic is where we came from and where we're going, which is a bit problematic for me because that's basically what I talked about last video. So I might steal some ideas from the rest of you. Michaela, you talked about where you came from physically, which is fine, but I don't think I can make it sound interesting. Taylor, you just talked about your YouTube history, which is what I talked about last time, so I can't do that again. Lloyd, you had an amazing poem, and I can't possibly match that, so I won't bother emulating you. Well, that went somewhere, didn't it? Okay, where I came from. I suppose I can talk about my former career choices, what I wanted to be when I was younger. That's something, eh? Originally in year 3, I think I was completely obsessed with space and science and everything. So I borrowed every single book about NASA from our library. So what I wanted to be when I was in year 3 was an astronaut. Unfortunately, I'm not very fit nor clever and don't care about math, so that lasted long. And to top it off, I live in Australia, which is completely the wrong country. So that lasted long, that career ambition. Since about year 10, I've always wanted to be a movie director. Since about year 12, that ambition, although still lies within me, has kind of waned because I've kind of realised I don't know how to become a movie director. I haven't won any festivals. I don't know if this current course I'm currently doing at university is going to lead me there, so I don't know if I can become a movie director. So instead, my current ambition is to become a YouTuber. Yay, that's much more sensible, isn't it? Especially considering that last month I earned a total of $7, which to me sounds really good, but then my friend told me that he makes $7 in about 10 minutes, so $7 in a month doesn't sound that good when you compare it with proper jobs, right? And to make it worse, my YouTube network, Maker Studios, take 40% of that, so it's even less than the $7 I just mentioned. So YouTube is obviously a great career path. Even so, I think YouTube has the potential to become something big for me, because looking at some of my favourite YouTubers, they've done some amazing things and become amazing people from YouTube. I mean, take Dan and Phil for instance. They started off with simply vlogging, but now they're huge radio stars in the UK. Look at Tessa Violet, she also started by vlogging, and now she's like a huge music star. Jim Chapman, who's still a YouTuber, but now he's also on a television show presenting things about social media. I don't really know what he talks about because I can't see the show since I'm in Australia, unfortunately. And should I talk about Alex Day? Probably. Despite the allegations, he's still my idol, which is a bit unfortunate. But what he's done with YouTube is simply amazing. He's not only made a living from the money from YouTube, but he also writes and produces music, which is where most of his income still comes from. And I look towards him, and I really like that about him, how he doesn't need managers, advertisers, or a record label like Troye Sivan to make music. So he basically gets all the money from his music and doesn't have to give any share of it to his record label, which means he's pretty rich. And furthermore, he's also got Sopio, Life Scout badges, and well, he was going to have a book. So basically my current plans for the future is to become more successful at YouTube so I can sell stuff and make money from that. What a brilliant career plan, Dennis. Much more sensible than being a movie director or an astronaut. I'm going to need another epiphany. Well, I hope you liked that. It was probably a rubbish video. Sorry guys. Yeah, check out my main channel. Links below. Ta-ra.